Welcome, everybody. Before we start the meeting, we will have a prayer led by Councilman Fitzwater, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to get together once again to do the business of our community. We appreciate all the faces represented here, all people that have come in to be with us as we do that business tonight. We thank you for the community. Thank you for public safety, police and fire that keep it safe for us to be able to meet and do the work of our citizens. We also thank the members of our military that are scattered around the world. Thank them for what they do to give us the privilege to live in this country, to salute our flag, to do the things that we need to do as citizens. We pray that you be with us as we discuss and negotiate and do the business of the city of Jefferson. We pray in your name.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. I will now call to order the Monday, April 3rd, 2023 City Council meeting, which is also available on our website virtually at jeffersoncitymo.gov. I will call the meeting to order. Mrs. Donaldson, roll call, please.
Deacon.
Present.
Fitzwater.
Present.
Hensley.
Present.
Kimna.
Here.
Lester.
Here.
Schreiber.
Present.
Spencer.
Here.
Spicer.
Present.
Ward. Here. Wiseman.
Present.
Item 3, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda by amending to add item 4, real estate for closed session, and moving resolution 2022-51 under item 12. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I want to take a moment to welcome and recognize Mr. Clint Smith, who is the director of our Planning and Protective Services Department. And this is your first official meeting, although you have been at several of our council meetings. Today was your first official day on the job, so we want to welcome you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I won't say too much. Just that I'm excited to be here. I look forward to working with the council and working with the community and working with our staff here. And I'm excited to start.
Well, we're glad to have you on board, Mr. Smith. So thank you for being here, and the city of Jefferson is lucky to have you. And also thank you to Mr. David Grellner, who has been interim and filling in, and been here for many years, and we appreciate your work as well.
Well, thanks. It's been a pleasure to serve the city of Jefferson, and look forward to working with Clint and working planning protective services as best we can.
Great. Very important department and a lot going on in Jefferson City, so thank you all. Item 4, miscellaneous agenda items. We're going to start with Service Month proclamation that we are going to present to Serve Jeff City, and also we have Mission JC, and so we would invite both of those groups to come forward. And we have several of you here, and I might start by reading the proclamation while you all are getting gathered up here, and then I'll turn it over. I'll start with Mr. Former Councilman Ken Hussey. So the proclamation says, whereas volunteering one's time, talent, and resources has been an integral part of our community, and it's essential we continue the tradition of giving and sharing to preserve and improve the quality of life for all citizens of our community. And whereas volunteers affect real change in our neighborhoods, community, and city by investing their time, energy, and valuable skills to address many needs of our community. And whereas community organizations, churches, and volunteers work together to offer our citizens an opportunity to collectively serve and impact our community. And whereas this spring, Serve Jeff City will be on April 22nd, and Mission JC will be April 30th, and will collectively involve over 1,000 volunteers. And the City of Jefferson, Serve Jeff City, and Mission JC and other organizations are committed to supporting and participating in efforts that will improve the quality of life and keep Jefferson City looking beautiful and vibrant. Now, therefore, I, Carrie Turgeon, Mayor of the City of Jefferson, do hereby proclaim April as Service Month in the City of Jefferson, and I urge all citizens to recognize and participate in the valuable contributions made by volunteers in our service organizations, and encourage others to serve the community to improve their own life as well as the lives of others. So this is a great tradition. So we'll start off with Councilman Hussey.
All righty. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for having us this evening. My name's Ken Hussey, former 3rd Ward Councilman, and on the planning team for Serve Jeff City. Joining me from the Serve Jeff City group this evening is Stacy Landwehr for the Parks Department, and Eleanor, my daughter, is somewhere behind me. We're off to soccer practice after this, so we're a bit more casually dressed. Serve Jeff City, for those that don't know, is a partnership between the Parks Department, the United Way, the YMCA. We're fortunate enough to have sponsorship support from Republic Services, Hitachi Energy, Lincoln University, Mawkins, Hawthorne Bank, High Rise Bakery, Hy-Vee, Central Dairy, and a few other folks. Will be April 22nd. We've got 30-plus project sites around the community that include parks, United Way agencies that need work done. We're doing a South Side cleanup that Councilwoman Ward is helping coordinate. That's going to meet at Hickory Adams Park there. Really fortunate. I think we've got volunteer slots for 400-plus volunteers at 30-plus project sites, and so should be a great day. We're hoping for weather like this. We'll kick off at 8 a.m. at McClung Park on the 22nd. Lieutenant Governor Kehoe and Senator Bernstetter will be cooking pancakes like they usually do with their crew. Best pancakes you'll have in Jefferson City because he spends money on the syrup. That's the secret to the Lieutenant Governor. Go cheap on the pancake batter, put your money into the syrup, and nobody knows the difference. We'll kick off there at McClung Park, pancakes, coffee, and then we'll be at our project sites about 8:30 and work until about noon that day. If folks want to sign up for Serve Jeff City, simply go to servejeffcity.org. We're asking folks if they sign up by this Wednesday, the first 325 volunteers are guaranteed a t-shirt. And then after that, we'll see what sort of supplies we have left. So I'm wearing, I think, last year's t-shirt. I'd like to be able to tell you what the color is this year, but I don't know quite yet. So Hannah and Amber at the United Way take care of that. So that's what we're all about for Serve Jeff City. This is our 10th event. We took off 2 years during COVID, so we started in 2012, but this is the 10th time that we've held this event. And it's a really cool partnership. It's fun to get, if we get 300 plus people giving 3 to 4 hours of service that day, that's, well over 1,000 hours of service in our community. And we're open to all ages. We get young children and families out there, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, church groups, all the way up to folks that are, seniors in our community that are looking to serve that day. So sign up, join us from the fun, and I'll turn it over to my friends from Mission JC so they can highlight their event.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Janet Ware-Inlow, and Holly Schreier and I are co-chairs of Mission JC again this year. And our event started in 2013, and it started with just one church, First Baptist downtown, and this year we have 10 churches and over 500 volunteers last year. We're expecting at least that many again this year, and over 50 projects. And the partner churches are Community Christian, Community of Christ, Familia Cristiana Internacional, First Baptist, First Christian, First Presbyterian, First United Methodist, Living Hope, Oasis United Church of Christ, and Southridge Baptist. And our event is on Sunday, April 30th. Some churches will be canceling services and leaving the church to go into the community to worship through service. Not all of the churches are doing that, and certainly church members are welcome to sign up to volunteer, but you don't have to be a church member. And if you would like to sign up, our registration opened on April Fool's Day, and people are already signing up, and you can do that at missionjc.org. And Holly will tell you about some of our projects.
Well, now I feel obligated to say that we're going to have the world's best donuts at our event from Schulte's. So come for the pancakes on the 22nd and the donuts on the 30th. There's a project for everybody. Mission JC is for all ages, all skill levels, indoor, outdoor, whatever you can think of. We probably have a project for you and your family. We're going to be cleaning up the streams like Weirs Creek, including the downtown area. We're going to be picking up trash on our highways, 179 and 50. We'll be landscaping, painting, mulching, other projects around our YMCAs and at 8 schools in the JC Schools district. We'll be baking and delivering cookies to our excellent fire and police departments. We'll be making blankets for hospitalized children in the area. and preparing and serving lunches at Salvation Army. Check out our website at missionjc.org and sign up today. Thanks.
I do want to mention also that Mission JC and Serve Jeff City do cross-promote. So if you participate in one, you are certainly welcome to participate in the other. And if you're not available on one of the dates, we hope you'll pick the other one to volunteer.
Wonderful. And if you would like to stay up there, of course, we'll get a photo. But if you would like to, each of you that are here, if you talk into the mic and tell us your name and if you want to say what organization or what you're from, but we'd love to have introductions. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Carol Scott, and I'm with First Presbyterian Church, and I'm going to be picking up litter, so anyone that wants to come help.
Awesome.
Stacy Landweber of Jeff City Parks and Rec, and I'm help coordinating all the projects within the park system.
Sure, come on up.
Eleanor Hussey, MacWork Jefferson student.
Eleanor, someday do you think you might want to be a future city councilwoman or mayor? You want my seat. You want my seat. I think I could see that happening someday.
No term limits.
Okay, we'll be looking for that someday, okay? Wonderful. Welcome.
Donna Downing, and I've been one of the community project leaders that have contacted all the different organizations and got projects in line, and then also helped to fill the spots of project leaders. And I just hope that all of you will sign up in some way, one of these organizations, and help support. It's a great thing.
Wonderful. Welcome.
And I'm Ken Satterfield. I'm from First Baptist Church, and I will be doing photography and communication efforts with Mission JC.
Great. All right. Does council have any questions or comments? Okay. Sign up. Yes, absolutely. Those are great. Well, we will invite all of you to come forward, and we'll get a group photo with our city council.
MSP comment time now.
Right, our next item is for Fair Housing Month. We have a proclamation that we're going to present to Blake Werner, president of the Jefferson City Area Board of Realtors. So we would like to welcome Blake, and then we're going to follow that with the poster contest winners. So I will read the proclamation that says, whereas April 11th, 2023 marks the 55th anniversary of the passage of the U.S. Fair Housing Law of 1968, amended, which enunciates the national policy of fair housing without regard to race, color, creed, national origin, sex, familial status, and handicapped. And whereas this law encourages fair housing opportunities for all citizens, and whereas the City of Jefferson, as well as the Jefferson City Area Board of Realtors, are committed to highlight the fair housing laws of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 by continuing to address discrimination in our community, to support programs that will educate the public about the right to equal housing opportunities, and to plan partnership efforts with the organization's help to assure that every American of their right to fair housing. Therefore, I, Carrie Turgeon, the mayor of the City of Jefferson, do hereby resolve that April 2023, being Fair Housing Month, begins a year-long commemoration of the U.S. Fair Housing Law in Jefferson City, and urge all citizens wholeheartedly to recognize this celebration throughout the year. So welcome, and tell us what you have going on for Fair Housing Month.
Thank you, Carrie. Sorry. Thank you. Good evening, and I'm joined by Linda Corhino at our 2023 Community Outreach and Diversity Awareness Chair. So we would like to thank Mayor and the City Council for recognizing April as our Fair Housing Month. This is our 15th year of sponsoring the Fair Housing Month poster contest. The poster contest was open to all 4th, 5th, and 6th grade students within the jurisdiction of Jeff City Area Board of Realtors, which is Cole, Callaway, Molitor, and Osage counties. This year's theme was Fair Housing, Love Your Neighbor. So all posters will be on display at the Capitol Mall in the YPro Arena this month. We also want to thank our sponsors, Community Point Bank, Midwest Title and Escrow, Shan Cable, with Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, Monarch Title Company, River Region Credit Union, REACT of Jefferson City, and the City of Jefferson. And our judges are Mayor Carrie Turchin, Amy Schroeder, J.C. Parks Assistant Director of Arts and Outreach, and Gabrielle Rintenberger, Director of Miller Performing Arts Center. So thank you, and at this time, we will ask the winners to come forward as their name is called to receive your award. And also, please stay up here until all names are called for a group picture at the end.
Hey, good evening. We'll go ahead and congratulate everybody that won. We're going to start with our 4th grade. For 3rd place, it's Claire Markway from St. Stanislaus.
Welcome, and if you would like, Claire, anyone who has family that would like to come up and get a picture, as you do the individual ones, will get pictures, and at the end, we'll also do a group picture with everyone. So I'll come around as well, and we'll invite each family member or friends or whoever's here. So I'll come right down.
Our 2nd place for 4th grade is Cooper Johnson from St. Peter's. Our first place for 4th grade is Nathaniel Cruz from Russellville. Okay, now we go with our 5th grade. 3rd place, Alice Locke from St. Stanislaus. Our 2nd place, Aiden Cannon from St. Stanislaus. Okay. And our 1st place for 5th grade is Solomon Lengel from East Elementary. For our 6th graders, 3rd place, Carter Nelson from Thomas Jefferson. Second place is Gavin Shabin. He's not here, right? Okay. And our 1st place is Eli Eslahi from Thomas Jefferson. That is it. Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of you. I know that there was such talent, as you can see on the overhead. All of your artwork was shown here, and you all really put a lot of thought and effort into it. I know, being a judge, I think this is the year that I probably saw the most entries that I've ever seen into this contest. So there was a lot to pick from this year. So that just shows that each and every one of you really excelled in what you did, and just the messaging and how important fair housing is. So thank you for sharing your artistic talents with us so that we could share the message of fair housing. And you all are very talented. So thank you for doing that, and congratulations to all of you. So we'd like to invite all of you to the front, and then our council's going to come behind and we'll take a group picture together. And families are welcome to come up as well and take a picture. I'm sure Donna will share with everyone too, but you're all welcome to feel at home and come on up and take a photo together. Thanks.
At the mall. Yeah.
We appreciate all the students and families, and also to all of the teachers that took this project on. And be sure to go to the Capitol Mall and take a look at the artwork. So with that, we'll move on to item 5. Public hearings are none this evening. Item 6, we have no appointments, although we encourage everyone to apply on our website if they're interested in being a volunteer. Item 7, presentations from staff, consultants, invited guests. Item A, financial update, Mrs. Perry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The packet that you have before you is for the time period ending February 28th. As you look through the revenue model, which is the first page summary, you'll see that there are a few categories that have the projected revenues under budget. For the most part, those are things that we've discussed previously, like building permits and cell phone taxes. If you go on to the second page, you'll have a breakdown of specifically what those items were. Again, telephone and cell tax, delinquent property tax. We are still anticipating some additional collections in addition to surtax receipts. And unless anyone has any specific questions on the details of the revenue model, I'll proceed on to the sales tax.
Any questions? Okay.
Okay, the sales tax report, this is for collections that would have been the receipt period of March 2023. In the general fund sales tax, collections were $103,000 below the anticipated projections. That is also the case with capital improvement, park sales tax, and the public safety tax. All of those were below the monthly budgeted projections. I do want to point out as we watch this, if you look at specifically the general fund, we see that the under budget amount this month kind of ate up about half of what we had already projected as the over budget. So that is something that we'll continue to monitor, and that does play out through the course of all of the different sales taxes that we have. I'd be happy to answer any questions on that if anyone has any.
Questions? Okay.
And then
Councilman Hensley has one.
Do we have any guess or estimate as to what might have caused that in those months?
This is a conversation that we've had multiple times at Finance Committee, that there's really not a whole lot of rhyme or reason as to which months are over and under. Our budget is projected based on the prior year's receipts. So it's really, it could be a timing issue, it could be a processing issue with the Department of Revenue. Hopefully we see the collections pick up in the next month, but there's really not a whole lot of rhyme or reason to it.
So the period for the March receipt period, the reporting period, or I guess the collection period of those taxes was it October, essentially October through January?
So there are two different kinds of collections that we do. There's the monthly, which would be the reporting period for January of 2023, and then some filers are quarterly. If they are a smaller remitter, then they're done quarterly as opposed to monthly. And so this would be the quarter of October through December of 22.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you.
And the last page that you have is the estimated fund balance projection. I have modified this report so that we now have an estimated unaudited number. We're still working with Evers & Company to finalize our audit, but I am pretty comfortable with this particular number. It takes into account all of the reappropriations that we did from 22 to 23, and the anticipated unassigned fund balance at the end of 23 will be $5,983,000, and that is 15.75% of the adopted fund balance for 23, which is slightly higher than we talked about during the budget process that we went through. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that report. Mrs. Perry, any questions? Okay. Item 8, announcements by mayor, council, and staff. Our calendar is on jeffersoncitymmo.gov, and we'll run through our 4 standing committees, starting with administration.
I have no announcement at this time.
Okay, and finance.
No announcement. Thank you.
Public safety.
Nothing at this time, Madam Mayor.
And public works and planning.
Public Works will meet a week from Thursday, April 13th, 7:30 a.m.
Okay. And I have a few announcements to mention. So today kicked off Soy Month in the city of Jefferson. So this morning was Soy Latte Day. If you haven't tried soy in your latte, encourage you to try that. We know that the Missouri Soybean Association is located here, headquartered here in the city of Jefferson, and all month long they will have recipes and different things that you can do with soy, and it's not just food related. There's a lot going on with soy, so encourage you to, if you haven't been out to their place in the 4th Ward, to go check out their building as well. Another reminder is tomorrow is Election Day, so be sure to vote on April 4th. The city, of course, has council seats up, as well as the marijuana 3% on recreational. There's also a school board elections, and we appreciate the opportunity to vote. So just a reminder for Tuesday, April 4th. Then I have a few other announcements. So as I wind down my term, there will be a reception on Friday, April 14th here at City Hall from 2 to 4. As the outgoing mayor, it'll be exciting. It gives me a chance to thank everybody. Also, if the daytime doesn't work, we will have something that evening before, Thursday night, April 13th. There will be a reception. The one I mentioned on Friday is at City Hall, but the one on Thursday, the 13th, will be located at 325 East Capitol, and that will be from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m., just some cookies and punch type of reception. So it gives me an opportunity to thank all of you for being able to serve as your mayor for the last 8 years. And I know that night of the Thursday, April 13th, while my event is 4:30 to 6:30, I will note that the YP Young Professionals Wine Competition is 5 to 8 at Capitol Bluffs. So you can come by my event where there won't be wine, and then you can go over to the wine competition and enjoy what the young professionals are doing for their fundraiser that evening. So those are my announcements. Is there anything else from council or staff to announce tonight? Councilman Lester?
Just want to announce a fundraiser that Central Missouri Community Action is having. They're having the Harlem Wizards come to town on April 12th at Hall Ice High School. And I'll be making a fool of myself on the team probably, trying to play basketball. Miss Enzi represented us last time and did outstanding, I thought. Much better than I probably would do. So anyway, come on out and enjoy the fun. It's a good fundraiser. Tickets are $20.
Great. We'll have to come out and cheer you on. We've got to back you up on that for sure. So, make us proud. Awesome. Thanks for doing that. Item 9, Lincoln University Student Representative Update, Octavia Aylesworth.
Good evening, Mayor Turgeon. Good evening, Councilman, and good evening, guests. I'm at Lincoln University. We are currently in our last 8 weeks of the semester, so we're going to be having a lot of great events and activities on campus as we prepare to conclude the school year. For anyone interested in joining the Blue Tiger family, there will be a virtual admissions presentation for transfer students on Wednesday, April 5th from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. and for first-time students, Thursday, April 13th from 6:30 to 7:30, and this is on Zoom and registration for this is required. On Wednesday, April 5th, the Missouri State's Museum's Landing After Hours program and Lincoln University are partnering to host Mapping Missouri's Black Towns and Settlements. They will discuss the background and vision for their nationwide Black Towns and Settlements mapping project. This is open to the public, and this will take place from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the Scruggs University Center Ballroom. On Friday, April 7th, Lincoln University will be closed for a free day. We would like to invite everyone to support our Blue Tiger men and women's track and field teams. There will be open track meets all day on Friday, April 7th and Saturday, April 8th at the Dwight C. Reed Stadium. On Sunday, April 9th, First Love Church will be holding an Easter service at 6 p.m. in the SUC Blue Tiger Den. An Easter egg hunt and photos with the Easter Bunny will also be included, and everyone is welcome to attend. And lastly, the Lincoln University softball team would like to cordially invite everyone to the unveiling of the Lincoln softball field on Tuesday, April 11th at 6 p.m. at the softball parking lot overseeing field 1127 Chestnut Street. Please RSVP to Dr. Kevin Wilson at wilsonk2@lincolnu.edu. Thank you, and that concludes the announcements for Lincoln University.
Thank you, Octavia. You have been wonderful representative of Lincoln University. You're so great at informing us about everything happening on campus. We appreciate having that link with you directly to Lincoln. And I know as we're winding down the semester, I did see an email just today that I think you'll still be here at the next meeting, correct? Wonderful. Well, I know we'll miss you when it's time to end classes, but we've really enjoyed having you. So thank you. Item 10, presentations from the gallery on specific bills. We do have someone signed up here. We have Mr. Andre Antoine Barnes. Is Andre here? Okay, we will move on to Ron Jordan. We have Mr. Jordan here to speak on Bill 2022-112, the Hyde Park Burn Building. Welcome, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Ron Jordan. I'm one of the owners of the Jordan Town Park. I turned it off. Anyway, we're one of your neighbors for the training tower that you have on Hyde Park, and I want to let you know that we're definitely in favor of this thing. We recently had a homeless set one of our buildings on fire last summer, and I was there present, and I saw the fire department people working, and it was like a machine. It was just everybody knew what they were doing. This is a much needed training station. It'll bring in other people from other communities to our town. So I recommend that the city vote in favor of this. We're tickled to death to have them as a neighbor. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Jordan, for those supportive comments. Any questions? Okay. And now item 11, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And item 12, bills introduced. We amended the agenda to take up resolution 2022-51 first, so we'll read that resolution.
A resolution of the City of Jefferson, Missouri approving a special exception use permit to operate a commercial vehicle service truck stop travel plaza for property located in the 200 block of Militia Drive.
Mr. Barron.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the property is shown highlighted up on the screen. It's located on Militia Drive, about halfway in between the interchange of Highway 50, 63 and Militia, which is shown at the bottom of the screen, and the National Guard facility, which is just off the top of the screen. And the property is zoned in M1, which is a light industrial zoning designation. And so the proposed use is for a truck stop / travel plaza, which is a special exception use within the M1 zoning district. And so this resolution would approve the special exception use permit and allow for that development to proceed. So on the screen is a aerial photo of the property. And I'll point out that the property has frontage not only on Militia Drive, but also Algoa Road, right up here at the top, bordering the top of the property. And so this is the site plan that's submitted as part of the special exception use permit. I'll point out just a few notable items on the plan. It does include fueling stations for both passenger vehicles at the front and then the larger trucks located at the back of the site. It does include a building with a kind of standard convenience store, but also 2 restaurants, food establishments located within it, as is fairly common with travel plazas and such. And then also the proposal would include reconstruction of a portion of Algoa Road, about 300 feet of it, in order to facilitate the truck traffic to the back of the site. And this is a rendering that was submitted by the company that's pursuing this development. It's an example building from Bolivar, Missouri, something that was constructed fairly recently. And so they're intending to essentially replicate that design. And so it would have a brick facade, and as you can see. And so this item was reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission at their March 9th meeting, was recommended for approval on a vote of 8-0, and is scheduled for a public hearing on April 17th here at the council meeting. I'm happy to answer any questions on this one.
Is there any questions or a motion to approve Resolution 51?
Madam, we cannot take up approval until after the public hearing on April 17th.
Oh, my apologies. So we don't need that. Okay. Any questions or discussion? Councilman Kemna.
Yeah. So when are they starting? I know they have a resolution, or not a resolution, but a public hearing. But when do they plan on breaking ground? Do you have
I'm not entirely familiar with their timeline. I know it's soon. They're intending to pursue it fairly quickly, but they would follow up this with a standard commercial construction site plan review and building permit.
Any other questions or discussion from council? Okay, so now we'll take up, or we'll have our bills introduced, 22-116.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, changing, amending, and modifying the zoning map of the zoning code of the City of Jefferson by rezoning .15 acres of land located in the 7,000 block of Partnership Parkway from M2 General Industrial to PUD Planned Unit Development, and approving a preliminary and final PUD plan.
Mr. Barron.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this proposal, or this bill, is closely related to the previous one, the resolution, in that it's to allow for a pylon sign to be located near the previous property. And so shown up on the screen is the property. And so this bill deals with the property located down here on the highway, whereas the previous truck stop item was located right there. So this bill would rezone a small tract of ground, 0.15 acres, from its existing M2 General Industrial Zoning designation to a PUD, Planned Unit Development designation, and approve a preliminary and final PUD plan to allow for a single pylon sign to be located on the property. Its purpose is to not only provide some representation for the truck stop, but also to allow for some representation from other business interests in the larger Algoa Industrial Park area, as well as the Partnership Business Park and property that the Chamber has. So it is on property that is owned by the Jefferson City Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber and JC Rep have both been very involved in discussions surrounding this sign and the truck stop development. So this is an aerial photo showing the property a little bit. And so you can see the interchange of Militia Drive and Highway 5063 here, and then the small tract of ground right here, including the proposed pylon sign. And so this is a rendering of the pylon sign, essentially 2 different versions, but very similar, which would include a representation for the truck stop, gasoline prices, and then also space for tenant panels for other business interests within the Algoa area. I need to point out that it is 55 feet tall and 800 square feet of signage area, which is taller and larger than normally permitted by the Jefferson City Sign Code, but can be approved within a PUD scenario. The standard allowances within the sign code allow for 32-foot tall pylon signs, not exceeding 200 square feet. But of course, this sign is located a fair distance from the highway, and so is sized in order to be visible for passing traffic. And so on the right-hand side of the screen is a rendering that, that tries to show what the sign might be visible, or the size as it might be visible to passing traffic. So this item was reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission at their March 9th meeting. It was recommended for approval on a vote of 8-0 and is scheduled for a public hearing at the April 17th City Council meeting. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Any questions or discussion from council? Okay, thank you for your work on this, and good to see the potential new developments. On to 22-117.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri approving a preliminary PUD plan for property addressed as 3420 North 10 Mile Drive.
Mr. Barron?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So up on the screen is the property highlighted. So it's located on the north side of North 10 Mile Drive, about 500 feet west of Constitution Drive. For location purposes, the Cole County Health Department is located right there at the center bottom of the screen. And so it is property that's zoned PUD, planned unit development, and used to have a single-family home on it, which burned in 2014. And so it's sat vacant since its the demolition activity after it burning since then. So the property is owned by Shrimp Brothers LLC. Ryan Shrimp is the representation. And so it is notable that there are single-family homes on either side of the lot, the vacant lot. But then the next lot over, so 2 lots in both directions, are residential sixplexes, both there and there. And so there's a fair amount of multifamily residential in this section of North 10 Mile Drive, and then also like nursing home type uses in the area. This bill would approve the PUD plan for development of a 4-plex residential building on the property. And so up on the screen is what that would look like. And then also a parking lot to serve the building in front of it. And so the building would have a combination of brick veneer and siding on the exterior, and then the individual units are kind of arranged in a townhouse style development. So this item was reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission at their March 9th meeting and recommended for approval on a vote of 8-0 and scheduled for a public hearing on April 17th. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, and yes, Councilwoman Ward.
When you showed the current properties, okay, I just wanted to see, I didn't notice if the parking for the sixplexes were in front. And it looks like they are.
Yes, they are.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? All right, 22-118.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri approving a preliminary PUD plan for property addressed as 901 Shot Hill Woods Court.
Mr. Barron?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this property is 2 separate lots that are located on Shot Hill Woods Drive, right at the intersection of Shot Hill Woods Court. And so it is about 1,000 feet from Eastland Drive. And so Oscar's Restaurant is located essentially on one side, just across the short cul-de-sac. And then the News Tribune printing facility is located on the other. It is property zoned PUD, planned unit development. So this bill would approve a PUD plan for development on the property, consisting of 2 separate buildings, both of them office warehouses, or what the zoning code would define as a contractor trade shop type use, including office space and warehouse space. And so the larger building located at the front would be built in a phase 1 in the first phase. And then the second building, a smaller one located at the back, would be developed at some time in the future. And so the PUD plan contains all the kind of standard elements of a site plan, including building location, utilities, parking, et cetera. And so there are some renderings showing what the building would look like, the exterior, which would be a combination of brick, ephes, and architectural metal wall panels. And so this item was reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission at their March 9th meeting, recommended for approval on a vote of 8-0, and is scheduled for a public hearing on April 17th. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, thank you for those presentations. 22-119.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a development agreements with GKS Management LLC.
Mr. Molman?
Thank you. This ordinance would authorize the execution of development agreements for 413 and 419 East Capitol with GKS Management LLC. GKS Management was selected by the City Council as their preferred redeveloper of these properties after a competitive RFP process. The agreements reflect the purchase prices that were submitted by GKS Management, specifically $7,500 for 413 East Capitol and $2,000 for 419 East Capitol. GKS Management has committed to completing all exterior work on these properties within 18 months, and then asked for another 12 months to complete interior work. The commitments are will be backed by a appropriate form of surety, either a performance bond or letter of credit. And then also, if the developer gets into the project and realizes that the project can't happen, essentially before 10% of the estimated project costs are expended, then the city retains a right of first refusal to acquire the properties back. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Councilman Fitzwater?
Yes, seeing no objection, I'd like to request suspension of the rules and go ahead and proceed with this item tonight.
Okay, we've had a request to suspend the rules, so seeing no objections, we will take up 22-119.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute development agreements with GKS Management, LLC.
Any further discussion or deliberation? Roll call, please.
Deacon.
Aye.
Fitzwater.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Kimna.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Bill passes, and thank you to Councilman Fitzwater and council and staff for moving this forward a little quicker, and that way the developer, I'm sure, will be excited to get things rolling even a little sooner. So appreciate that. And I want to back up because I meant to recognize on the previous bills introduced, and I know that you mentioned JC Rep, but Eric Barron mentioned that, but we have Luke Holtschneider here, who's here on almost every meeting, perpetually here, because there's a lot of economic growth and development happening. And I wanted to also recognize you for your work on a lot of those previous projects that we are talking about. So appreciate your presence and work on that. Item 22-120.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing a supplemental appropriation to the Jefferson City Police Department, amending the 2022-2023 annual budget and authorizing the expenditure of such funds.
Chief Wilde.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This bill is to request a supplemental appropriation from the Animal Shelter Reserve Fund in the amount of $14,295 to be applied toward the purchase of a new animal control vehicle. Those funds in that reserve fund are donated and fit well within the spirit of that account, is to make sure we have the right equipment for the job. So be happy to entertain any questions if you have them.
Any questions? Councilman Schreiber?
Yes, Madam Mayor, would respectfully request to suspend the rules.
We've had a request to suspend the rules, and seeing no objections, we will take up 22-120.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing a supplemental appropriation to the Jefferson City Police Department, amending the 2022-2023 annual budget and authorizing the expenditure of such funds.
Any council discussion or deliberation? Roll call, please.
Fitzwater.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Kimna.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Bill passes. 22-112.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing utilization of the Sourcewell contract with WHP Training Towers of Grandview, Missouri for the purchase, design, and installation of a 5-story tower and a 2-story residential industrial fire training facility at 2304 Hyde Park Road, approving a contract with UDT LLC of Rolla, Missouri to demolish the existing building, accepting an additional contribution of $200,000 from Cole County ARPA funds, and approving necessary supplemental appropriations from Sales Tax G Gleaning Fund.
Chief Schofield?
Yes, thank you. And as the clerk indicated, this is a multi-part bill, but the primary crux of it is to replace the existing burned building and drill tower at our Hyde Park training facility. And I'll mention that there's a substantial investment in that facility and the entire site. We've been there for a very long time. I think the only group that was there before us was Ron Jordan and their development there as well. And so he actually told me a story about his dad originally doing some of the construction down there in that area, and a water line that was brought in at the time. And so we had a good conversation, and he did want to come tonight and speak on behalf of this bill. But I'll get into it more directly here with the contract with WHP Training Towers. Is a company out of Grandview, Missouri. So we feel fortunate that we have such a skilled and very proficient vendor as an opportunity for us to utilize. They've built over 1,000 training towers similar to this all over the world. We're fortunate that they're here in Missouri. So the contract is with them, and the Sourcewell Cooperative Agreement allows us to utilize their services actually at a discounted rate. They were scored as number one out of, I believe, 14 different vendors that competed for that cooperative recommendation for Sourcewell. In addition to the contract with them and the co-op, there is also in here a demolition of the existing building, and that building, as you recall, is beyond its service life. It is a 30-year-old structure that has had years of hard use. Originally completed in 1993, it's 30 years old. It also is pretty limited in its capacity, and based on some of that hard use, is no longer really viable for us to do live fire training evolutions inside of, and has been that way for a few years. So the next part of that demolition piece is that we did our own bid process and are recommending utilizing UDT out of Rolla. They're already doing other demolitions within the city, so we recognized a little bit of efficiency and savings for them to mobilize and be able to do the demolition for us. In addition to that, the bill also contemplates the acceptance of the additional $200,000 from Cole County and the County Commission. We want to publicly recognize that and express our appreciation to the Cole County Commission for their support of this project, for a total of $500,000, their commitment to this project. And then finally, it authorizes an additional amount to be utilized. Originally proposed to be gleaning funds out of sales tax G, but after feedback that we received from council and the recommendation, the bill sponsor, Councilman Schreiber, and I discussed utilizing sales tax H for this instead, capital improvement sales tax H versus sales tax G. In addition to that, I would also want to recognize that we have two technical experts with us tonight. We have the retired director of MUFRTI, Kevin Zumwalt, with us, who's been with us on this project for a long time, and I believe, if we can convince him to, continue to help us as a technical advisor and also a concerned citizen of Jefferson City. You'll know him from many of his other involvement throughout the city. Also, we have Division Chief Jerry Blomberg, who ultimately it'll be his building to not only get constructed, but also to utilize as our Division Chief of Training. Beyond that, I'll maybe just mention a couple things. I know at the last meeting there was a conversation about could the building be completed with the $1.5 million, so I'll just get straight to that. What we're bringing to you is we believe that the bare minimum of what would be a viable project. We know that this council and the city, when they do a big project like this, they really want to do it right. And so we looked at many ways we could cut cost, and we have done that. We have sharpened our pencil. We have really gleaned from that experience that a steel building is more efficient and also much more economical to construct than a conventional construction. When we say conventional, we mean concrete, block, and brick, like our existing building. So that was the first way that we sought to bring that price down to a more feasible level. Then we looked at features, and we looked at all the various features that were out there with the intention of wanting to make sure that we future-proof this facility so that it is a project that can continue to provide benefit for our community and surrounding community for decades to come. And so as we look at that, we wanted to make sure that we incorporated some pretty key features in there. We wanted to make sure that we had the ability to not only have Class A combustibles, which is what we have now, which was burning straw and wood and pallets and things like that, Class A combustibles. But we felt very important that in addition to Class A, we needed to have Class B opportunities as well, meaning that it'd be propane gas fed in certain areas. And this project does incorporate that. But if we were to drop down to a lower level, that would be about the only thing that could really be cut, in addition to some other things to meet that lower threshold of 1.5 million. So we feel like that's an important component to include, not only for today, for the kind of training we do today, but certainly as we look towards the future, to be able to do that. In addition, the existing building really only has one burn room. So there's really only one place for you to start the fire and conduct the live fire training exercises. The priority from the very beginning is that while this building has many uses and while we can do lots of different types of training for lots of various different agencies, including some of our partner agencies, that its primary focus be live fire training. And so for us to do that, we really have 3.5 areas, we'll call it, that we can do that. 2 Class A burn rooms on the first floor, 1 Class B room on the second floor, and then an attic area that also provides us an area that we can practice fighting attic fires. So when I say 3.5 burn areas, that's what I'm talking about. But to meet a lower threshold number, we would have to cut probably a couple of those burn rooms. And then we'd be back to kind of the same scenario we're in now, which is the existing building only having the single burn room. And that's something else I'll mention too. We did consider when we started down this path, we considered rehabilitating or repairing the existing burn building. The conversations that we had initially with that were well north of $1 million just to restore the current facility into a way that it would be functional and safe and compliant with national standards that we have to comply with. So what we're bringing to you is that product. I would also like to maybe, if it's the pleasure of the council, give Director Zumwalt an opportunity to speak on this as well, if that's acceptable.
Sure. Welcome, Mr. Zumwalt. If you'd like to come to the podium, and appreciate your work and effort on this over many years. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Just to leapfrog a little bit on what Chief Schofield mentioned, and first and foremost is thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be a part of this. As it's been mentioned before, and some of you know, got a lifetime in the fire service. Most importantly, 37 years in training, statewide, national, local, you name it. I did retire close to 3 years ago from the University of Missouri's Fire and Rescue Training Institute. 37 years in the training field. So I think I can speak on some experience. Over that span of time, I guess I have toured 30, 40 different states' training facilities and many, many local fire department training facilities, both fire districts and municipalities. Even assisted in some with consulting similar to what I'm doing here with the Jeff City Fire Department, is providing my input, my experiences on the different facets of the training facility, what's good, what's bad, where things are going in the future, and so forth. So I think I can speak a little bit on some expertise in where I've been and where things are going forward. Speaking of going forward, the chief said that part of the commitment to the committee that was going to look into this, either a rebuild or a rehab, was to make sure that we build something that's going to last into the future. Totally agree. As a citizen, I want to see taxpayer dollars spent well. So the longer that you can make a facility last, the better. Unfortunately, in the fire service, when you're burning training fires in the building, it's going to deteriorate the building faster than if you're just as a residential structure. So future-proofing was definitely a consideration. The chief already mentioned about the different types of burn fuel that you would use, whether it be Class A or Class B. The fire service is going away from burning Class A materials. It's not totally there yet, but one of the main reasons for that, well, actually there's 2 good reasons. One is of all the carcinogens that's in the Class A materials. In order to burn straw and pallets, you have to make sure that there are no pesticides used in the straw. Matter of fact, most of people now are burning Excelsior, which is a little cleaner. You can't go get donated pallets because the pallets may be contaminated with chemicals and so forth, so you want to make sure that everything's clean. So it's getting harder and harder to use Class A materials in a fire service training facility, which is what everybody used up to this point. So the introduction of the Class B, or the gas-fired props, is the way the future's been going, and I think that's going to be the word in the near future. Second to that, and I've been witness to this in some cities in Missouri, where their burn facilities have been Basically, they've been kicked out of them because they were landlocked in residential industrial areas where the smoke from the Class A fires just became such a nuisance to the citizens that they said enough's enough, and they had to totally relocate, which was costly. So I think that the due diligence that this committee has done, starting out with a full task analysis of everything that the fire service needs as far as training to meet state standards, national standards, the city's standards that they have adopted, everything can be done within this multipurpose facility. The chief did not touch on, but it is a true fact that I've seen happen in other cities where it's not just the fire department, it's not just the area fire departments that utilize the facility, but also the local law enforcement, whether it be the city police or the sheriff, with their SWAT training and the joint trainings that they do with the fire service for that city. So all in all, I'm kind of fast. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but as a resident of this city for over 30 years, as someone who is very sympathetic to the fire service needs, whether it be training, which is essential, it's an ongoing daily occurrence in the fire service, that if you don't invest in your people with their training, if you don't invest in your people, then you're going to have problems down the road. So this is going to be one more step in the direction for the future to make sure that the firefighters are safe, citizens are safe, and they're well protected. Thank you all very much. Please vote for this.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Zumwalt? And we appreciate your dedication to the fire service and especially to training. And all of our firefighters, all of the men and women, of course, here at Jefferson City and around the area that will be utilizing this. So we appreciate what they do for us every day and training utmost importance. So with that, do we have, yes, Councilman Schreiber?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the substitute bill.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the substitute and a second. So we are going to focus only on the substitute here for the moment. Any questions on the substitute? Okay, I typically do a voice vote, but why don't we'll go ahead and do a roll call for accepting the substitute. Roll call, please.
Hensley,
Aye.
Kimna,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Schreiber, Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Wiseman,
Aye.
Deacon,
Aye.
Fitzwater.
Aye.
Okay, now we will take up 2022-112 as substituted. Any questions on the bill or discussion? Councilman Deacon?
Chief, real quick, what kind of time frame are you looking at from demolition to completion? Put you on the spot?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. We would really like to take advantage of the traditional building season, meaning spring, summer. We believe that this vendor, this contractor, it can move fairly quickly. I'm not going to promise that it's going to be done by the end of the year, but I think that's our tentative goal is within the 2023 calendar year would be our intent.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Kimna,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Schreiber, Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Wiseman,
Aye.
Deacon,
Aye.
Fitzwater,
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Bill passes. Great work, everybody. 22-113.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri amending the 2022-2023 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by appropriating additional funds within the wastewater enterprise fund.
Mr. Marash?
Thank you. As clerk indicated, this is supplemental within the wastewater fund. It's for the purchase of a spreader truck for the wastewater plant. But basically, we budgeted this year before last, and the equipment's finally arrived, so we are rebudgeting.
Any discussion or deliberation or questions? Roll call, please.
Lester,
Aye.
Schreiber, Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Wiseman,
Aye.
Deacon,
Aye.
Fitzwater,
Aye.
Hensley,
Aye.
Kimna.
Aye.
Bill passes. 22-114.
An ordinance amending the purchasing code relating to electronic tablets.
Mrs. Perry?
Yes, this bill would authorize city employees and elected and appointed officials to purchase the electronic tablets issued to them upon separation from the city at market value in a used condition, and this did pass through the administrative committee.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Schreiber, Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Wiseman,
Aye.
Deacon,
Aye.
Fitzwater,
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Kimna,
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Bill passes. 22-115.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing a consultant contract with Structural Engineering Associates Incorporated and amending the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by appropriating additional funds within the parking fund.
Mr. Marash?
Thank you. And I think the clerk pretty well indicated all that this does, but the majority of the work will occur for the repair of the Jefferson Street parking deck and some minor repair in the Madison garage. And the question earlier about what was going on in Madison Street garage, it is removal of some cell towers that are no longer paying us for their use of the space. So I just want to clear that up.
Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Deacon,
Aye.
Fitzwater,
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Kimna,
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Bill passes. Item 14, we have nothing on the informal calendar. Item 15, resolutions. We've taken up number 51, Resolution 2252.
A resolution authorizing the city to enter into a tax-exempt lease purchase agreement with Central Bank for certain parks equipment.
Mr. Spalding?
Thank you. This resolution would authorize our commission, our Parks and Recreation Commission, to enter into this tax-exempt lease purchase with our central bank to cover equipment purchases, to be used at the golf course, ball fields, and our general park maintenance.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion or a motion? Excuse me, Mr. Molman.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight something here. So generally, these types of purchases wouldn't be heard by the city council. However, this particular form of a purchase is a type of borrowing. The recourse is essentially if for whatever reason the payments weren't paid for whatever reason, which I don't think is going to be a problem here, but it's repossession of the equipment. But this is technically a form of borrowing, and so that's why it has to be approved by the city council and not just being handled by the Parks and Recreation Commission. So that is a little outside the normal of why we're looking at a fairly routine purchase of equipment at a city council level, but because of the form that this transaction is taking place, which is, through Central Bank, which was, competitively bid through a state procurement process. That's why you're seeing it. It's just a little bit different, kind of a new opportunity that we're taking advantage of, and hopefully lots of optimism that this is going to work out really nicely for the Parks Department. So just a little highlight there that this is outside the usual.
Appreciate the clarification. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 52?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion or deliberation? Roll call, please.
Spicer.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Fitzwater,
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Kimna,
Abstain.
Lester.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2253.
A resolution removing the Chesterfield Hotel's Arcturus team as master developer for the Missouri State Penitentiary redevelopment project and providing further instruction.
Mr. Molman?
Thank you. This resolution would remove the status as master developer from the Chesterfield Hotel / Arcturus team. Essentially what this means is that city staff and our partner, Special Development Council, JC Rep, et cetera, would no longer be compelled to engage in exclusive negotiations with the Chesterfield team for redevelopment of the MSP site. This would allow us to kind of reopen the process and seek other ideas for redevelopment of the MSP area. Specifically, this project is a little bit of a victim of its own success. $180 million state lab facility, $20 million health association facility going on at MSP. Reopening this would allow potential redevelopers to kind of take a look at the reality of what is happening at MSP and incorporate that into any future plans. And including also things like the EDA grant and the new community revitalization grant will help with infrastructure and demolitions. And so I think it's fair to say that the MSP site doesn't look like what we thought it was going to look like in 2020 when the master developer was named. And so this will allow some new ideas to be breathed into the MSP site. kind of reflecting the reality of the last 3 years, and also allowing, staff in the city to engage in negotiations and seek out a process for finding, those new ideas. In addition, specifically, I should say, this resolution directs staff to formulate and present to the city council a plan for going about that process. And then also directing staff to continue to try to secure the city's access to the 1.6 disaster recovery grant. That's the EDA grant for infrastructure. That grant was originally tied to the hotel conference center project. However, we believe there's an opportunity to kind of redirect that grant to more of the jobs that we know are going in on the short term, and hopefully still have access to that money for our infrastructure project. And so this resolution provides staff the necessary direction, helpful direction to take those steps and try to make sure that we can still secure that grant, even though that grant was kind of originally entered into with a kind of different project being the front runner. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Molman. Any questions? Councilman Fitzwater?
I don't really have a question. I was just going to kind of echo some of the things our counselor indicated. I mean, this continues to be an exciting project. As he indicated, there's a lot of exciting things going on there. I know the media has spent a little bit of time trying to help us get the message out. I would just hope the community would understand this is 180 degrees from retreat. This is reinvigorate and try to pump up this project. As he indicated, it has changed considerably since we started. We went through a lot of tough times in that midst, but we went into it with the mindset of build it and they will come, and now they've come and we're still trying to figure out how to build it. But I think there's a lot of exciting things there. We just need to keep the message to the community that we are, I'll speak for myself, I am 100% committed to that project and trying to keep it moving forward. And, I think it's exciting that we give others an opportunity while still keeping Chesterfield in the process if they can bring something back, but it'll give others an opportunity to participate. And I would encourage council to support this exciting new direction. There are a lot of people in this room that have done some incredible things on that project. If I start naming them, I'll forget some, so they know who they are, but they have done an amazing job of bringing dollars to this project, helping us redirect, working on infrastructure-related issues, finding money to do things that we would not have been able to do as a city, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Fitzwater. Any other discussion or a motion to approve?
I would move to approve if we're ready for that.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion, questions, deliberation? And I will also recognize that we have with us Mr. Luke Holtschneider from JC Rep and Diane Gillespie, our Convention and Visitors Bureau here as well, who have been pretty instrumental. As Councilman Fitzwater said, there are many people to recognize, but also want to take a moment to look at how far we've come here over the last few years with MSP redevelopment to kind of as we reflect on this point that we're at today, and just looking at 2015 and when we started the process to acquire the land for redevelopment, the 30 acres. So while we started that in 2015, we were able to get the deed signed in 2018. So that took that amount of years to get that through the legislature, and we're appreciative of that effort. Lieutenant Governor Kehoe was instrumental in making that happen. Of course, at the time, he was Senator Kehoe, and we appreciate the efforts of all of our local delegation. But the amount of effort and work that it took to work with the state to get that land so that we could facilitate the development. So getting the deed signed, I know it's a copy of it hanging on the office wall across the hall in the mayor's office, just because that in itself was a big feat. And so very thankful that we got the land to facilitate this in 2018. And then in 2019, the tornado, of course, ripped right through MSP, directly ripping off a roof and didn't sidetrack us, though. We're still able, through our MSP community partners, which was city, state, county, CVB, and chamber, to keep that process moving forward, to get that original master plan updated and tweaked and get it to the next level. And then in 2020, the selection of Chesterfield Hotels as our developer, and working with Parrot Construction. And I know they've put a lot of significant time and effort into it. So, you know, what's happened from 2019 when they were selected and going into 2020, when we know the pandemic really took a toll on hospitality. So they, of course, and we know that even our developer had health issues, and you name it, we had just about everything thrown at us at this particular project, but very thankful that despite all of that, things continued to move forward. But just to give context to how far we've come and where we were going in that process, and also thinking about acquiring Housing Unit 5 and the land that took. So we did the land swap that we just completed last year in 22. Well, we started that in 2020. So Councilor Molman and city staff and myself and several of us working for that land swap, because we knew then when the state decided to build their One Health lab, they needed some of the land back that they had deeded to the city. And then we also know that we decided, moving forward with the developer, that the prime location for the hotel really was Housing Unit 5 that ended up being hit by the tornado. So if we could have seen the tornado coming, we might have asked for a little different land to be acquired by the state. So it's funny how things ended up. So with Housing Unit 5 and the cost to revitalize the not historic structure and using it for the hotel space. So going through the land swap was a couple years process. We're thankful that we got it, but through previous administrations, it took some time, and actually received a no for when we first asked for the land swap and asked for that area. So we took the no and worked together with the state, and were able to turn that no into a yes. And so just a lot of significant issues that we dealt with, but we were still able to turn that around. So that was pretty significant to get the land swap. So once that happened, and I want to also give a big thank you to Commissioner of OA, Mr. Ken Zellers, who was very on board when he took over that position in 2021, and it was full speed ahead once he took over. So everything was finally aligning. So now in 22, we got the land swap after being told no, and thankful also to Governor Parson and our legislators for continuing to move this forward. I do want to say for Mr. David Parmalee and Todd Goodrich, who had a significant amount of time and effort into this project, and a lot of private equity that they've planned to put into it. They are still very interested in the project, so they didn't want this to be seen that they're not, but they understand the circumstances with construction cost elevating and the financing, and that their equity was just not enough to get it to the finish line for the full service hotel they planned. When we selected them as the hotelier, knowing the product that they had in Columbia, which is the Broadway, and having something like that with the rooftop type of amenities overlooking the Missouri River, and having a full service hotel rather than a more inexpensive version of a hotel, is what council had desired. So that leads us to where we are, but I do want to mention that they are still interested. But the nice thing is this opens it up to other developers. I want to touch quickly on MSP, and I know Diane is here and she can say this better than I can, but a couple of facts is that MSP brings $2 million of economic impact to the area annually. We have over 30,000 visitors a year that tour MSP. Touring season just opened in March, and we've had people from over 48 states and how many countries? 38 countries that come right here to Jefferson City in our backyard to MSP. So just appreciate the asset that we have for MSP and this development that's getting ready to happen. And I have to say all that as we turn it over to Mayor-elect Fitzwater and the new administration to keep that moving forward, and appreciate the work that has been done up to this point, and looking forward to the next, to the future of MSP and all the recent successes that were outlined earlier that we've had at MSP lately. Any other questions or discussion on the resolution? Roll call, please.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Deacon. Aye. Fitzwater.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Kimna.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Item 16, presentations from the gallery. I want to check, is Mr. Andre Anton Barnes, has he come back in? Okay, and I don't see anyone else signed up. Did I miss anyone that would like to speak? Okay, item 17, is there any council and staff discussion of presentation topics this evening? Item 18, new business. I mentioned in the pre-meeting that we would talk about the process for the new 4th Ward seat when Mayor-elect Ron Fitzwater takes the position. I know I had received a few inquiries about how the process would work, so I'd reached out to staff and asked the questions, since I've been asked that some of you all may be also getting asked. And so the vacancies in council are filled by the rest of council by majority vote. And this could happen as soon as the second meeting in April, as soon as the new council is sworn in, or council can make the determination of what that timeline will be. So while this does not fall under my leadership, it will fall under Mayor-elect Ron Fitzwater. And the process and how that will look is entirely up to council. There is no process set forth, but Councilor Molman could certainly outline any details on that so that council, when Ron takes office, will be able to move that process forward and the public would be aware of what that process would be. Councilor Molman?
I mean, you said it, it's a process determined by the council, so, you know, the staff is always willing and able to assist, but, you know, it's essentially up to the new council to determine the process that best suits their own needs.
Thank you. So if council has any question, they could certainly bring that forward. Councilman Deacon?
I think a precedent was set, even though there's nothing in the charter. The last time we had a vacancy, I think there was an application process, and I would like to see the precedent, use that as a precedent and go forward rather than personal friends. I think we should have an application process and the council look at it and then vote. There's too many buddies that could come up, me included. There's people who say, yeah, I'd like to have. So I think an application process would be the fairest way of all. And that's the way we did it the last time. I think Councilman Ward it's in on that. Yes.
Yeah, so it's an application process, and then we had a debate here in the chambers.
Councilwoman Wiseman?
I'm not sure I remember that application process for Councilman Fitzwater's spot, but I think this is potentially because of the large changeover that's possible at the next election. I think that it's probably best that we just table this discussion until the new council takes all of their seats. And so I appreciate the input. I just don't think that, I don't think we can do anything tonight or even really have a meaningful discussion, as, you know, at the very minimum, we have 2 new people coming in.
Councilman Hensley?
Yeah, thank you. And just to echo what Councilwoman Wiseman was saying, it's not a decision for this council. That decision will be made after this council is adjourned and the new council is sworn in. So I agree with what she said, and think this is a matter for to be taken up immediately upon the swearing in of the new council.
Thank you, and correct. And I did mention, and I want to make sure that I did mention also that it is for the future council. I will also note, while I've been asked by citizens about the process, I was also asked by the media today. So having that inquiry today of what the process will be, and that answer is it will be determined by the future council. But I also thought, out of respect for the future council and citizens that are asking, that way they can be made aware that that process will be coming up, and certainly after April 17th, the council can have that discussion, and if they have any questions of staff would be here to guide them. So thank you for that. Any other new business this evening? Any, let's see, item 19, approval of the March 20th and March 27th closed session minutes. I think there was a motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Fitzwater.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Kimna.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer. Ward.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 20, any unfinished business? I do have one. I have cupcakes across the hall. Now that's where we're going to head for closed session, but if anybody, there's enough for everyone, head over there and grab a cupcake. What's left, unless Councilman Schreiber ate them all. If he left any for us, they're over there, because you're all at my birthday party, whether you knew that or not. So thanks, Mom. I know they're watching. Thanks, Mom, for the cupcakes. So Item 21, is there a motion to go into closed session? And I will read the motion, and I will say before I read it that we will be heading over to the room across the hall in Boone Bancroft for closed session. So item A, pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri, the chair will entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss the following. Item 1, or I, attorney-client privilege, section 610.0211. Item 2, preparations including any discussion or work product on behalf of a public governmental body or its representatives for negotiations with employee groups, section 610.0219. Item 3, negotiation contracts, section 610.02112. And item 4, real estate, section 610.0212. Is there a motion to approve?
Mayor, would it be more appropriate, since we're going to have it sounds like a lengthy closed session, to adjourn into closed session so we don't have to reopen into regular?
Sure, we can do that.
So I would like to move to adjourn and then move into closed session.
Okay. We have a motion and second to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? And I've already read the item 21, so Mulman, we can move forward. So is there a motion to accept item 21 to go into closed session? Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Deacon. Fitzwater.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Kimna.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Schreiber. Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer. Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. We'll meet across the hall in 5 minutes. Everyone have a great evening. Remember to vote tomorrow, April 4th. Thank you.